As I'm sure many of you are aware, Pokémon cards are going through an insane surge of popularity right now, the biggest in its 29-year history. And with that comes many new faces and people wanting to embark on their very own Pokémon collecting and investing journey. But with so many Pokémon cards to choose from and so much different information out there, it can be really hard to know exactly where to start. Many Discord servers, including my own, are filling up with tons of new people asking so many questions about Pokémon investing and just the hobby in general. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about collecting, investing, and enjoying the hobby so that you don't make too many mistakes when you start out. For those who don't know me, my name's Jamie Mann, otherwise known as Pokémon, and you might be asking yourself, why should you listen to me? Well, although my channel isn't all that old, my love for Pokémon is quite the opposite. I've been a lover of Pokémon, the cards, the games, the franchise for my entire life. My mum always tells me at the age of 2, I was able to recite all 151 original Pokémon. I've played and still have all of the games, collected cards since base set, and even have a tattoo of my favourite Pokémon. As a kid, if I wasn't seen holding onto my Game Boy Color, I was either asleep or pretending to be asleep whilst battling the Elite Four. When it comes to collecting and investing in the cards, I've been doing so for many years on and off. It's only recently that I started to go into it full time, and that's why I started this YouTube channel. So I know a thing or two about the basics. Anyway, I hope that's enough information to pass me as slightly credible enough to give you the information I'm going to give you today. And guys, if you don't already know, I am giving away a 151 booster bundle on this channel totally free once it reaches 1,000 subscribers. It's super easy to enter. All you have to do is 1, make sure you're subscribed, and then 2, drop a like and a comment on this video right here. Now it has to be this video because I'll be using a random comment picker to pick one of the comments on this video, and you'll be entered in the chance to win this 151 booster bundle absolutely free. So make sure you don't mess about and get involved. Okay, so to begin with, we need to ask ourselves, what is investing? Well, according to Google AI, investing is the act of putting money into assets in the hope of earning a profit. Sounds simple, right? Well, with so many products, so many sets, and so many eras, it can be really hard to know exactly where's best to put your money. In this video, we'll focus primarily on the investing side of things. However, it is important to note that there are other ways to make money in the Pokemon hobby. Flipping is when a product is bought and quickly sold for a profit. This not only relates to Pokemon cards, but can be done with properties, or cars, or any item you want really. A common practice is at car boot sales, people find cheap things to sell on for more. This is known as flipping. Grading plays is also another great way to earn money from Pokemon cards. The idea with this is to find raw cards that appear to be in great condition and grading them with official grading companies, such as PSA or ACE. If the card grades in a 10, which is the highest grade, it can drastically improve its value, turning an £100 card into a £500 card. This can be risky, as you may not always be guaranteed to get a grade 10, but can have huge rewards if it does. I'll be covering these in detail later on in the video, but first, let's talk about investing. As I mentioned earlier, investing is the act of putting money into assets in the hope of earning a profit. Well, historically, sealed Pokemon products have typically increased in value over time, making them a potentially great investment opportunity. But not every Pokemon card has done so. Take Shining Fates for example. This set came out nearly 4 years ago and is still readily available online for MSRP, despite having huge amounts of hype when it released and being nearly impossible to find at MSRP. There are many reasons for this, and I'll touch on that later, but this is why it's super important to know exactly what sets to invest into in the first place. To understand this, we need to know the different types of products that Pokemon Company offer and how they compare as investment opportunities. I've pulled together a list of products that I think are best to invest into, and I put them in a tier list so it's easily digestible for you to understand. Please note that this is my own opinion and might differ from other people's, but this is just what I think. First up, we have the booster box. Now, I'm putting the booster box in S tier as they are typically the single best investment you can make when it comes to sealed Pokemon product, and there are many reasons why. Firstly, the price per pack is usually by far the greatest of any product. For roughly £120, you're able to pick up 36 booster packs, which comes in at roughly £3.33 per pack. Obviously, not every booster box is going to be about £120, it could be more, it could be less, but generally, around that price, you're looking at around £3.33 per pack. Alongside that, there are 5 main reasons why booster boxes are considered the king of Pokemon investing. First one is the value. Due to the number of packs in a booster box, the likelihood of hitting a high value card is usually quite high, and there tends to be a guarantee hit rates within booster boxes, so you're more likely to pull a chase card from a set. Next up is liquidity. Booster boxes are generally easy to sell on the secondary market due to high demand from collectors looking to open them. Nostalgia. Older sets, especially those considered classic by collectors, tend to increase in value over time due to nostalgia and limited availability. Market stability. While individual cards and prices may fluctuate, the overall market for Pokemon booster boxes tends to be relatively stable with a consistent upward trend. And finally, accessibility. Booster boxes are readily available from various retailers, making it easier to purchase and potentially sell them later. So it's easy to see why so many people refer to booster boxes as the king of sealed Pokémon investing, myself included. Next up, we have Pokémon Center Elite Trainer boxes. I've been seeing so many questions from newer members of the hobby asking what the difference is between a regular Elite Trainer box and a Pokémon Center Elite Trainer box. Well, let me break it down. Pokémon Center Elite Trainer boxes, as of recent, have started to include promo cards in addition to the original promo card with an exclusive Pokémon Center stamp on the promo card. This product can only be bought from the Pokémon Center, which is only available in select countries, making the boxes and promo cards extremely exclusive and therefore making them highly valuable. They also come with 2 additional packs and regular ETBs, so getting 2 extra packs and an exclusive stamped promo for only a little extra cost. On top of this, the Pokémon Center ETBs will have a Pokémon Center written on the box itself, making it even more collectible. All these factors make PC ETBs an incredibly strong investment. Regular ETBs and booster bundles come in at the next tier, the A tier. Booster bundles contain 6 packs for usually around £25 and are simply just a box of packs. For specialty sets, which I'll talk about later, these are solid investments, as specialty sets do not have booster boxes, so it can be a great way to get individual packs without any additional fluff that comes with an ETB. They are also a lot smaller and easier to store. ETBs are also solid, but not as good as booster boxes and Pokémon Center ETBs, for obvious reasons. ETBs become a lot stronger for specialty sets as they do not have booster boxes as previously mentioned. So these 2 products are very, very good, but just not quite as good as the booster box or the Pokémon Center ETB. Next up, I've put an Ultra Premium collection. Ultra Premium collections are larger, more expensive boxes that are released for a variety of different sets and reasons. They usually contain 3 promo cards and a bunch of packs alongside other gimmicky items like special dice, playmats, deck boxes and the sorts. With UPCs, you need to be careful, as some of them have performed exceedingly well and some not so well. And this is usually due to the packs that it contains, or the set that it's part of. The 151 UPC has been doing really well, but simply because 151 as a set does really well too. Something like the Charizard Ultra Premium collection, which you would think would do amazingly because it's Charizard, hasn't really taken off and can still be found close to MSRP. It is worth noting that the Charizard UPC was printed excessively and market floods of a particular product can cause it to stabilise for a long time, until the product slowly starts to dry up and become more scarce. Simple supply and demand. In the next tier, I put Build and Battle boxes, Build and Battle stadiums, 3-pack blisters, and collector's tins. Build and Battle boxes contain 4 packs and an easy play sealed deck, which comes with a stamped card inside with the set name on it, which is kind of cool. The stadium is essentially just the same, but it comes with 2 of the regular boxes and 4 additional packs. Whilst these aren't the best products to invest into, they aren't the worst, and if the market is completely dried up of booster boxes and ETBs, like we're seeing with many Sword and Shield sets, then these can be the next best thing to buy in terms of price per pack products. I myself picked up a Lost Origin Stadium the other day, and I know that Lost Origin is out of print and I wanted to get some packs to invest into, so I picked one up. 3-pack blisters are not too bad, as they contain 3 packs and a promo card, and for the right set, can fetch a pretty penny. Take Evolving Skies for example. 3-pack blisters are up to £80 on the secondary market, which is nearly 8 times the initial investment. However, booster boxes are over £1,000, and if you got an Evolving Skies box at £100, you now take 10 extra money. So just some food for thought. Next up is collector's tins. Collector's tins go way back in the Pokemon TCG, debuting in 2003. They typically contain a promo card and 3 to 4 packs, sometimes more, sometimes less. Core set tins usually contain a variety of packs from a single era, but can sometimes include packs from multiple eras, whereas specialty set tins usually contain just that set. Collector's tins do actually perform quite well, but they take a lot longer to appreciate than some of the other products on the list. This black and white collector's tin, for example, which came out in 2011, is now at £400, which is mainly due to how rare it is to find. However, it has taken 14 years to get to that point. This Sylveon GX tin, which not only contains a more beloved Pokemon than the black and white tin as a promo, but also has more packs, including XY Evolutions, which is quite a popular reprint set of base set. And it's yet to really take off, despite being 7 years old now. If you compare that to a 7-year-old booster box of even lackluster sets, the difference is clear to see. Now I wouldn't avoid these at all costs though. I personally picked up a bunch of these hidden potential tins because they contain 2 Lost Origin and 2 Fusion Strike packs, which are some of Sword and Shield's greatest sets. However, if you're just starting out and want less risk, maybe stick to some of the products that are higher up on the tier list. Finally, in D tier, I've put check lane blisters, single packs, mini tins, and collection boxes. Check lane blisters are single sleeve packs that usually come with an Evolution line promo set as well as a coin. So kind of like a juiced up single pack. Single packs are a bit tricky because if they haven't got a sleeve around it, it can be hard to prove that the pack hasn't been tampered with. Unlike sealed boxes that have tamper-proof seal around them most of the time, single packs, if unsleeved, do not have the same protection, and there's been many instances of resealed packs which can be frustrating, so that's why they're in D tier. Mini tins are released in waves and contain 2 booster packs. Some mini tins can contain a mixture of sets from a particular era, whereas specialty set tins contain just that set. The mini tins are kind of awkward to store and only contain 2 packs, so I don't really like them as investment items. They also need to be sold one by one and it's more legwork. Finally, let's talk about collection boxes. There are actually lots of different types of collection boxes and auxiliary products that the Pokemon Company sell. There's just way too many to list, but I would avoid these unless they have really amazing promos. Examples of collection boxes with great promos would be the recent Shrouded Fable boxes with the Greninja and Kingdra. I really like these promos a lot and can see them doing well in the future. So there you have it, that's the tier list, and we now know a little bit more about the types of products that the Pokemon Company offer and how they stack up in terms of investing potential. Now, alongside all the different products that Pokemon release, we have another fact to consider, and that is, what set do we actually invest into? It can be tricky knowing what set to invest into, especially with there being so many. And truthfully, no one really knows how well a set will perform. It's all just speculation. But we can make educated guesses on what will make a strong set and what will make a poor set. Pokemon releases a new set every few months or so. Let's not forget that Pokemon cards are actually a playable trading card game, and there are competitions all year around involving the game. So the cards need to be printed to keep the game fresh. There are 2 main types of set: core sets like Surging Sparks and Evolving Skies, and specialty or holiday sets like 151 and Prismatic Evolutions. Core sets will be coded by the Pokemon Company as something like SVO1, which in this case stands for Scarlet Violet 1, as the first core set in the Scarlet and Violet era. The next set will be SVO2 and SVO3, and so on. It's important to note that specialty sets do not have booster boxes in English, as I alluded to, so sets like 151 and Prismatic Evolutions will not include a booster box. Only core sets will have booster boxes. Which begs the question, if sets like 151 and Prismatic Evolutions don't contain booster boxes, why is everyone going so crazy about them? Well, it's simple. The sets themselves are simply just incredible. 151 contains only the original 151 Pokemon, which are incredibly iconic and nostalgic, and brought back a lot of old collectors back to the hobby. Prismatic Evolutions not only contains the iconic Evolutions, but is the first English set to have masterable reverse holos. Combine that with the massive organic demand for Pokemon cards, and you have a hugely sought after set. So, it's both a combination of things and individual features of a set that decides how well the market thinks it will perform. If we compare these sets to a set like Shrouded Fable, which includes barely any, maybe even 0 iconic cards, it just doesn't have that same attraction. It definitely has some great artwork, take the Monkey Dory and Persian for example, but with no really standout Pokemon in the set, it just doesn't have that wow factor. So really to summarise, there are many different factors that can decide what makes a great set, but to simplify it, it's simply just the best artwork and the best Pokemon. Combine the two, and there's your answer. Other factors that have a deciding factor on whether a set does really well are chase cards and pull rates. If a set overall isn't exactly the best set, but it has 1 or 2 absolutely standout chase cards, such as sets like Twilight Masquerade with the Greninja or Lost Origin with the Giratina, these tend to do extremely well, as people will want to be chasing that chase card until the end of time. Pair this with low pull rates, then you have an extremely sought after card which is incredibly hard to find, meaning the price of the single card rises in value and thus the price of the set that it's in also rises in value. The perfect storm. There are many variables to account for when deciding what a good set is. This can often be found out by waiting for a set to release and seeing what the pull rates are and how much the chase cards are going for on initial release. Surging Sparks, for example, has the iconic Pikachu special illustration rare and also has notoriously terrible pull rates, hence the demand for the product. So now we know the best products to invest into and how to identify the greatest sets, let's talk money. How and when to buy and how and when to sell. Buying product is half the battle. And even equipped with the skills to know how to identify the greatest sets, it can be difficult to know where exactly is best to put your money. This is why for me, diversity is your greatest ally. Having your hands in many pots, so to speak, is usually a great way to start your Pokemon investing journey. Buying a booster box here and there of many different sets that you believe will do well will ensure that at least if one of them rises and the other ones don't, then you've got your hand in that pot that's gone up, and the other ones might take a little bit more time. But at least you've diversified your portfolio so you have access to all the different sets. If you can't afford getting booster boxes and your budget is low, don't worry, start off with booster bundles. Everyone's capital limitations are different. Some might have more, some might have less. But you don't want to go into debt over Pokemon cards. Trust me, it's not worth it. If you're still struggling on what product to buy at the end of this video, then it's a great idea to consider joining a Discord. If it's not my Discord, then most, if not all Discords in the community will have people that are happy to help guide you on your way. So if you are looking for a little bit of extra help, please do consider joining my Discord. I've built up a community of knowledgeable and friendly people who are so happy to help newcomers in the hobby and guide them on their Pokemon investing and collecting journey. The link will be in the description below. Finally, to close out this section, one thing to note is to not compare your collection to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy, and if you see people on video with tons and tons of Evolving Skies boxes behind them, that's their own journey. They've been doing it for many, many years. You will get there in due time. Just enjoy it and do what you can. So how do you get products? Well, it's kind of going to depend on where you are in the world, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep it within the confines of the UK because that's where I'm based. When it comes to sealed Pokemon product, there are many online stores that are highly regarded and highly reliable. Places like the Pokemon Center, Chaos Cards, and Magic Madhouse are all highly regarded, safe places to buy Pokemon cards in the UK. When it comes to the secondary market, then Facebook or eBay is your best bet, but proceed with caution. Whilst eBay is generally safe, there are people who try to take advantage and try to scam people. So just ensure that your purchase is being done by a reputable seller. The way you can check this is to check the number of the items they've sold and their feedback score. For Facebook, this is generally a bit more risky as it's totally unregulated. But if you follow my 2 simple rules, you'll pretty much be safe 99% of the time. And people on Facebook are generally okay. The first thing is to make sure that you pay by PayPal goods and services. This ensures that you have buyer protection when you're buying an item in an unregulated market. Secondly, make sure that the seller includes a timestamp, which is their name and the date on the picture of the image of the card or the product that you're buying to ensure that it belongs to them and not just a random picture they've taken off the internet. Follow those 2 rules and you'll generally be safe on Facebook. Finally, of course, you can go to your local game stores, which are most likely to have some of the latest product available, but not tend to have older product most of the time. So there are sort of 3 main places to get product here in the UK. That's online stores, but stick to reputable sellers, secondary markets like Facebook and eBay, and of course your local game stores, your brick and mortar stores. That's pretty much the same anywhere in the world. Another great place where you can buy cards is from card shows around the country. These are where vendors set up stalls with all of their cards on display and sell them to the public. You have to buy a ticket to entry at some of these places, but some of them can be free. So if you have got the time and you are nearby, then definitely consider going to a card show. These are a great way to pick up some sealed cards and obviously make some grading plays as well. When it comes to knowing what product to buy, now that comes down to a few different factors. Can you afford it? Is it the right play? What's the opportunity cost? All of these factors matter when it comes to making purchases, and none of them can be answered by anyone other than yourself, most of the time. No one truly knows the exact best play to make, but we can make educated guesses based on historical data. Booster boxes tend to trend upwards over time. Find a popular booster box under market value? Probably a good time to buy. Seeing a single card reaching its all-time high in the last month? Maybe hold off. Using price charting websites like TCG Player or Card Market allows you to track the performance of a single card or sealed product over the past year, which can be really helpful to inform on making buying decisions. If a card or product is trending downwards and it's hitting its all-time low, and you believe that card or product has the opportunity to grow even further in the future, then it might be a great time to pick that card or product up. If a card or product has reached its all-time high, it might be better to hold out because it could crash down. But then again, it could keep on going. Who knows? Only you can make that decision. However, the more time you spend doing this, the more experience you become and the more experience you get at understanding great entry points. It all comes down to experience. But as I mentioned earlier, please don't feel afraid to reach out to more experienced people in the hobby. Like myself, I'm always happy to lend a hand, and so is my community. So when it finally comes around to selling your product, whether that's in 3, 5, or 10 years, or however long you've decided to hold on to it, then again, I tend to use websites like Facebook and eBay. eBay in the UK no longer has listing fees, so you can sell your product for free. However, you do need to account for shipping fees and packaging fees. Facebook is also a great place where you can sell your cards. It's a lot more personal, but again, it's unregulated and there are risks with it. Make sure you're fully aware of the risks that come with selling on an unregulated marketplace. As long as you're smart and you're careful, everything will be fine. If you wanted to sell your items quickly and for below market price, then card shows or brick and mortar stores might be a good thing for you to consider. Stores like Collector's Card House in Chorleywood will buy your products for cash or credit, but at a percentage of market price. This is because, of course, they need to make a profit and they need to make their margins on the cards they buy from other people. This is the same with vendors at card shows. I know a few influencers and content creators that will also be willing to buy collections off people, but again, this is going to be a percentage of market value because they also need to make profit on the cards they buy. The best place to sell your cards for full market value is and always will be eBay or Facebook. So now we've covered most of the topics regarding sealed investing, let's have a look at what flipping is and grading plays as well. I'll also be telling you how to get your cards graded in the UK. Flipping can be a great way to make quick money in the Pokemon hobby, but it doesn't come without its pitfalls and its risks. The idea is simple. Buy an item, usually a single card or graded slab, for less than market value and sell it on for a profit. Repeat this process 1,000,000 times and you're a millionaire, right? Well, it's not as simple as that. It can be super laborious to take all the time to find the items and sell each individual item, and many people don't want the headache of doing that. Also, most of the time, you'll be buying singles online and there's no guarantee that condition in person is the same as how it looks on screen. So you could be taking a risk that the card condition isn't what it looks like. With singles, card condition plays a huge role in how much card value is. This is because mint condition cards have the chance to score higher when graded and can increase the value by a large amount if graded a perfect 10. In a market like this, it's also really hard to find people willing to sell singles at a price that is good enough to make a profit on. Your best bet is finding a collection of cards online sold by someone who just wants quick cash. There can be real value in that. Flipping has its positives though. You can make a lot of money really quickly if you find the right deals. It's just finding the right deals that is a difficult part. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very labor intensive. Grading plays, however, I actually enjoy a lot more. Grading, as I mentioned earlier, is when you send a card off to be professionally graded on a score between 1 and 10, depending on the condition of the card. Cards are typically graded via 4 different factors, the first one being centering, which is how well the image of the card has been placed onto the cardboard itself. You can see from these two cards how one of the cards is what's known as off-center, where the image of the card is far to one side of the cardboard, meaning it has not good centering, whereas the other image is perfectly in the middle of the card with even space around all 4 sides. This is known as good centering. This applies for both the front and the back of the card. Another factor is surfaces. This is checking if there is any discoloration, fading, or damage on the surface of the front and back of the card. Edges. This is checking there is no damage on the edge of the card or whitening, which is when little white specks appear from micro tears in the card. Finally, corners. Again, checking the corners are rounded perfectly and there is no whitening. With all 4 of these factors being perfect, you score a perfect 10. If any one of these factors isn't up to scratch, you risk grading a 9 or lower. The price difference of a card graded 9 or a 10 can be astronomical, with 10 selling for 5 times the price of a raw card and 9s often selling the same as a raw card. So the idea for grading plays is to find raw cards that look in tip-top condition, sending them off for grading to try and get a 10, and thus drastically increasing the value of the card. The grader can then choose to sell that card immediately as a 10, acting as a long-winded flip I guess, or hold onto the card in hopes that it rises even further in price as an investment. So grading plays can be seen as either an investment or a flip. And the best part about it is even if your card doesn't grade a 9 or a 10, then at least you've got a sealed card in your collection that you can keep forever or do what you want with. It's a win-win. So how do we grade in the UK and what companies should we grade with? Over the past few years, there have been many new grading companies that have come into play. However, the market leader has and will probably always be PSA. You've probably heard of the term PSA 10 or PSA 9 or PSA X. This is simply referring to the grading company and the grade of the card. For me personally, if you wanted the highest return on your investment, then grading with PSA is the best idea. PSA graded cards typically tend to fetch the highest market price in a 10 compared to other grading companies. There are other well-known grading companies in the States such as Beckett and CGC, but for the sake of simplicity, I just recommend grading with PSA. Unfortunately, PSA are a US-based company, and that means you'll need to send your cards off to the States, so just be aware of that. A great alternative to PSA here in the UK is Ace. Ace is a fairly new grading company set up by the famous UK YouTuber Randolph. It's been gaining popularity recently, and it's a great place to grade your cards if you don't feel comfortable sending them off to the States or to PSA. Ace slabs have been starting to grow in price a fair bit now, and also personally I feel like they are much nicer slabs than PSA in terms of how they feel. What I tend to do is grade cards of PSA that I want to have my highest ROI on or I'm planning to sell in the future, and grade cards of Ace that I want for my personal collection, and I kind of recommend this to everyone. So you might be thinking now, how on earth do I grade my cards? And yes, it is quite a scary and daunting process, but there are very, very good ways to get around it in the UK. Luckily, there are middleman companies here in the UK that offer grading services and can really simplify the process. Companies like the Sub Centre or Collectible Power Grading offer middleman services for you, who will send your cards to PSA or Ace and then post them back to you. Collectible Power Grading also partner with Collectors Card House, the local game store I mentioned earlier in Chorley Wood. So you can actually go into the shop in person and send your cards off there, which can be really good at putting your mind at ease. Of course, you can go to Ace or PSA website directly and submit there, but I've always found it easier to use a middleman service myself. So there we have it. The breakdown of Pokemon investing and flipping in a bit of a nutshell, I guess. I tried my best to cover everything I could think of in this video, whilst also making it digestible and understandable for newer members of the community. But as I mentioned earlier, if you have any more questions or burning desires, please consider joining the Discord, as me and my community will be more than happy to help answer any questions you might have. Unlike my previous videos, I put a lot more effort into this one with scripting and editing and trying to bring you the most important information that I could. So if you found this useful, my only single request to you is to like and subscribe, as it really does help me out and helps me keep creating videos like this for you guys, as that's what it's for, it's for you. I want to try and bring as much useful content as I can for the community, and by liking and subscribing and growing my channel, it really helps me be able to do that. So with that being said, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you find this useful, and I'll catch you in the next one.